Hello. So I'm here to inspire you. And what I want to tell you is that there are a lot of bad things happening in the world. We just talked about the Ukraine. There's crime, there's injustice, there's disease, there's all kinds of bad stuff. And if you watch the news, it can get very depressing and you can think that the whole world's coming apart. But I want to tell you a lot of good things are happening in the world also. It's that the good things don't get in the news. They're not noticed as much, but there is kindness in the world. There is generosity. There is compassion on each other. And so what I wanted to do is just talk about generosity a little bit and give you a few statistics on how much we actually give away. And so as Americans in 2020, we gave away $471.5 billion in 2020. And that is a 5.1% increase over 2019. And that's especially significant considering that was during a global pandemic. We still, even people feeling financially vulnerable, gave away a lot of money. In 2020, the largest source of giving came from individuals, representing 69% of all financial giving in 2020. Other sources of giving include charitable foundations, bequests, and corporations, but as individuals, we give more than all of those put together. Americans, we give away more money than any other nation. We give away 7 times more than Europe does. We give away twice as much as Canadians do. I'm not saying anything bad about any other country. I'm just trying to say that there's a lot of generous people, and there's a lot of generous people in this room. In 2020, in the US, we gave away 2.3% of our gross domestic product. That's a significant amount of money. And I'd like to just talk about who gives that money away as far as their income levels. So people making less than $50,000 a year, they give away the second highest as a percentage of their income. So they give away 8.4% on average of their income. People below, the highest would be people that earn more or have AGIs more than 10 million. They give away about 9.3. And then the lowest in that category is people making between 100 and 500,000 actually give lower than any other category. And then, so that's all cash, that's cash donations. But then there's also volunteering. In 2017, 25.1% of US adults volunteered their time, talents, and energy to make a difference in our world. And that represents an estimated 8.8 billion hours, approximately $195 billion in value. So a lot of that generosity is right here in this room. The reason why we're Rotarians is to serve others and give of ourselves, our time, our talent, our dollars. And so I just want to encourage us. It's easy if you're watching the news to think that the world's coming apart. But there's a lot of people that have goodness in their hearts that are really doing a great thing in our world. And so I just want to remind you and I remind myself that there is goodness in the world. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. This next thing is something I don't get to do very often, but we're going to induct a new member into our club. Reena Gupta invited Manju Mishra to visit us, and she immediately was very interested and she wanted to join our club. So come forward, please. And we're going to make Zoom work here because Ricky's going to talk. Can you talk, Ricky?
I can always talk.
Let's try to hear you, though. Talk, please.
What do you want me to say?
Introduce Manju.
All right. It is my honor and privilege to get to introduce to you our club, Manju Mishra. Since 2011, Manju has dedicated her time to serving nonprofits that work for the upliftment of disadvantaged children and victims of domestic violence. She's a board member and India program director for the Uttar Pradesh Manal of America. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, Manju. She designs and runs a program for improving the lives of tribal underprivileged children in the Bundelkhand region of Uttar Pradesh. So again, I apologize if I said that wrong. She's a board member of Narika, where she tirelessly raises awareness, helps fundraises, and helps in the program for supporting domestic abuse victims. She's had a long professional career as a software developer for the Department of Defense, India, and a founder and director of a technology services business that took back seat to once her passion for working for nonprofits took over. And, just to throw this in at the end, her decades of work with nonprofits culminated in the President's Lifetime Achievement Award for commitment to building a stronger nation through volunteer service, awarded by President Biden back in 2021. So, just another, what do we call that? She's an overachiever, obviously. And we're glad to have her. So some of her hobbies and interests are cooking, listening to Bollywood music, writing poems and short stories in Hindi. I asked her for anything fun or interesting she wouldn't mind sharing, and she says she's kind of a boring person. At least that's what her dollar tells her. But we didn't even get half of really her resume, so I don't think she's that boring. And why did she join Rotary? For over a decade, she's been totally devoted to nonprofit work and serving the community, and she loves what Rotary is doing and wants to join what we're doing. And the areas of service that she's interested in, I've already kind of recruited her for membership. She's also interested in possibly helping in wheelchairs, community service, public image, and scholarships. So not very impressive at all. Manju, welcome to the club.
Let's give Manju a warm welcome. We have a membership package to present to you, complete with a certificate that's suitable for framing and your first badge, your red badge.
Thank you.
And then you'll learn how you can turn that into a blue badge by completing some tasks in the club. And we're giving you a shirt and a pin, and welcome.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to say anything?
I'm happy to be here. I know I can learn so many things from all of you experienced veterans and Rotarians. So just bear with us, bear with me if I am not up to the mark in the beginning. So please.
All right, thank you. Now it is time to introduce any visiting Rotarians in the room. I know there's one right here, Brad.
President Bill, fellow Rotarians, it's a pleasure to introduce from our embryo club, Pleasanton North, a past president, past assistant district governor, currently the district membership chair. He's a part-time commercial property manager. Please welcome Herb Ritter.
Oh, yeah. He's a hell of a nice guy.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Any other visiting Rotarians in the room? Guests of Rotarians. Guests of Rotarians. Joyce?
I'm doing this for Marjorie. Over there.
Yeah.
But stand up. This is Maria Di Benedetti. And she took Kathy Wade's spot at Durbridge. And this is your third time here. Her third time here.
She told me today that she's putting in an application, so we'll see if her and Andrew can get inducted on the same week. That would be great. Did I miss anybody? Let's introduce our Zoomers. Who's on Zoom besides Ricky? Ricky's here. You already said hi. Say hi again.
Hey, everybody. Good to see y'all.
Tell us about your knee.
I'm recovering great from knee surgery, but I'm going to be on crutches for another 6 weeks. So, you know.
Good to see you, Ricky. Julie, would you like to say hi, Julie?
Yep. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Joy.
Hi. So just a little update. You're probably all wondering a little bit about Dawn, and we spent the day down in Palo Alto at Stanford there yesterday, and we had some tests that gave us the information we needed. Looks like he'll be having an upcoming, couple of upcoming surgeries, but we feel incredibly optimistic now that we know what we're dealing with. So, I think the definitive thing is the doctor said, let's restore your quality of life. And we said, let's go.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking forward to.
Well, everybody sends their love and thoughts to you guys.
Thank you so much. And we so appreciate all of the kindness and the outreach from members. It has really kept things going for us, the love and the carrying messages and actions of the membership. Thank you so much, everyone.
Harvey, would you like to say hello? You're muted. All right, well, we don't read lips. Nice seeing you, Harvey. Okay. How about us? Do we have, okay, please.
Fellow Rotarians and guests, President Bill, I'm here to introduce you to one of my business partners. He, along with his lovely wife, Louisa, we work with REI Signature Homes, and we just developed a gorgeous property. He's our fearless leader in developing a beautiful property that just got on the market and we're due to close on May 3rd. It took us 14 months to build it. Many of you have seen it on Facebook. It's absolutely stunning. And Gary has worked his tail off in getting this to completion. So yeah, so his wife is a beautiful designer, and we work together in making this gorgeous master. I consider a masterpiece, beautiful, beautiful luxury home. And we're here with our friend Bill Erb, who we were lucky enough to have him speak kind of at the last minute. So
What's the first gentleman's name?
Gary
Gary what?
Messeri.
Okay. Thank you.
Full
Welcome,
Italian.
Gary. Okay, thank
This is Larry.
I
yes.
missed the name. So.
Yeah, so, and Bill Erb will be speaking with us today about a very fascinating topic. Gary and I heard him recently at a realtor board meeting, and we're fascinated by what he had to say, so we invited him to speak today. So.
Thank you. We can't wait for Don Lewis to be healthy enough to return and sing songs to us live, but in the meantime, we're going to listen to a video of the songs, a Rotary song.
R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is known from land and sea. From north to south, from east to west, it profits most who serves the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is one great family, where friendship binds, romance unlinked, where each one strives its best to give. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary.
Now you know how to spell Rotary. Okay? Joe, can you do it? All right, we have 5 people making announcements today. They're going to be about a minute or less each. Nancy and Randy and Brad, if you can come up here, we'll start with these 2 fine gentlemen to my left.
I'll just ask you to make a quick announcement. Hello, as the district membership chair, I just want to say congratulations to joining one of the best Rotary clubs in Pleasanton. Yes, they are the oldest club, but thank you. And I love hearing about all the new members coming. So this year, just a quick report, we're breaking 4,000 members in District 5170. We haven't done that in years, so we're on the right track. So thank all of you. So give yourselves a hand. And on behalf of Richard Flanders, our district governor, I want to announce the district conference this next weekend. How many of you signed up for it? Raise your hand. So our club is actually canceling meeting next week and having everybody go on Saturday night, just as an incentive, something to think about. But I just wanted to put a big plug in there. They've got a lot of great events. We're doing a walk, Richard Flanders Walk for Polio on Sunday morning before the breakfast, before the speech contest. So sign up. Everything's on the district website, District 5170, and they have House of Friendships and lots of good things at that event. So anything else, Mr. Bill? That's it. Congratulations on being an awesome president.
Thank you. It's always nice to hear from Herb, who's one of the older members of Pleasanton North. Okay. I'm here for two announcements. First of all, next Thursday is Thursday. We're at 5 o'clock. We're going to Oasis Bar and Grill on Main Street. We'll be in the bar area nearest Ray Street, up where the cocktail tables are. The second and the more important thing, April 30 is our Rotary Progressive Dinner, $20 a person. So people like Matt DePratis are going to take his wife because he can't take her out for dinner anywhere for less than $20. So it's $20. Grace Nash is here to accept money. We need to sign up. So we want to make sure people sign up early so that we order enough food. We don't have too much food because Bob Shapiro and I can only eat so much spaghetti. So we need a couple of more host homes, $20 a person, progressive dinner, April 30, 5 p.m. start at Black Tie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, just two short announcements. The first one is Saturday, Kids Against Hunger. Gary and I are going to be over there 1 to 2:30, so they could use more Rotarian support, and that's packing food. And this is all for Ukrainian refugees. So they actually, I understand, have a really busy day planned and are going to set up tables outside. They have lots of teams going to pack lots of food. So if you have some time on Saturday, come on out, and I'm sure they'll, you give them $20, it's worth it to help pack this food. The other thing is, this is a polio campaign time. We're trying to eradicate polio. We only have 2 countries left that have any kind of polio. So if you haven't contributed at least to $25, make sure you give that to Rotary International so that we can do whatever we need to do in order to eradicate polio.
Thank you. 2 follow-ups on Nancy's. The walk that Herb is talking about on Sunday morning, what is it, 2K or 3K? It's a very short walk. Yeah. That is a Polio Plus walk. Okay, so when you walk on that walk, you're donating $25 to polio when you do that. Also, yes. Oh, I thought somebody else said something. I lost my train of thought.
You said there were 2 things.
Oh, the Kids Against Hunger. The Kids Against Hunger event is an Area 4 project. This isn't just something randomly that Nancy and Gary decided to do. The Doubling Club put this together at the last minute, and Kids Against Hunger is planning for 70 to 80 people. I know the Doubling Club already has 20 signups for this. So please get out there and donate your time. It's for a good cause. Randy.
Thank you, President Bill. This Tuesday coming up, we have our the Chamber of Commerce, the foundation for the Chamber of Commerce is having a leadership all-class reunion, and it's a fundraiser for that. We'd love to have some more people signed up. I know we have a few, and we have some great donations, and thank you, Brian Gentry, for donating a foursome, and with him included, at Castlewood, and several other things. So if you can, please come. And Herb's donating his cabin, so thank you for that, Herb. Also, May 20th is our poker tournament. We are live on the website, so you can sign up to play or just come and have dinner. It is a poker event, so we're having a costume contest. It's the Roaring Twenties remake or revisited, as I think Bill says. We're gonna have a lot of stuff going on there. We are still looking for auction items or raffle items for that as well. So if you have or would like to donate something to that, please let me know. And if you want to volunteer, we'd love to have you for that as well, or just go. Oh, there you go. See, there it is. Right there, May 20th at the Veterans Hall. Thank you, guys.
pokerevent.pleasantonrotary.org. So you can get your sign up there. I believe we ran through all those announcements. So thank you. We're going to watch a RI video now. All right, thank you, Mark. Now I'm going to welcome Past President Ginger to the podium to introduce today's program and speaker.
Thank you, President Bill. Fellow Rotarians and guests, I'm here to introduce you Bill Erb. And Bill has been licensed in real estate since 1970. For the past 33 years, he's worked in the mortgage industry. 18 of those years as the president of Diablo Funding Group, which many of us know about, one of the largest mortgage brokers in California. Bill managed 47 offices and 850 loan offices. He currently is with State Credit Union. Bill is the vice president of the Contra Costa Realtors in Motion. Bill is married with 4 children and lives in Martinez. Recently, we listened to him give a very interesting and informative talk about the state of real estate today and fundamentals of real estate as well. So please welcome Bill Erb.
Oh, good afternoon. Are we, hey, Mark, are we set up with the clicker?
We're out of USB port, so just tell me what to click on.
Okay, I'll just say when to go next. Okay. So anyway, first off, I want everybody here to know that I'm an optimist. I still carry a comb. So, you know, being in the mortgage industry, this loan officer has a very fulfilling and successful close with their client, bought a new home, beautiful, everything went well. And so he decides to send a beautiful bouquet of flowers to the home as a welcoming gift. And the beautiful bouquet of flowers gets there, and the new owner looks at the tag and it says "Rest in peace." He was not too happy. He calls the florist and says, "Hey, I think you made a mistake, you know, this is not a very good blessing for my new home, and he goes on, and finally the woman says, sir, just imagine, somewhere there's a funeral going on, and next to the casket is a beautiful bouquet of flowers, and the tag on it says, welcome to your new home. All right, so, well, on the health front, though, we have to do one more thing. Scientifically proven facts. A woman who is slightly overweight lives much, much longer than a man who mentions it. Okay, Mark, are we ready? All right. So here we go. 2022, another hot year in real estate. I mean, we're kind of launched into the year. It's pretty clear. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Of course, you know, in the real estate industry, I am a licensed agent. I don't practice real estate in competition with my clients who refer business, but I am licensed. And so, of course, I have to say this from a real estate person standpoint, every day of every year is the right time to buy or sell real estate, right? So we get all these different perspectives, don't we? Oh, the market's gonna go up, the market's gonna crash, the market's gonna do this, and people have all these different perspectives, and all of which have some roots in the truth. However, let's take and put all this together. So next slide. This cracks me up because this is what my clients that are buying homes feel like. All right, it is not for the faint at heart. You know, 17 offers on this property, 27 on this. I mean, and people get discouraged and so on. So I warn them. I love to send this slide to clients and go, look, here's what it is. Are you ready? You got your, you're ready to go? So next slide. This real estate market has been about 30 years in the making. The reasons why it's escalating at the pace it's escalating at. And it's not likely to change anytime soon. So let's go into some of the factors. Next slide. Okay. Job growth versus the need for housing. We're going to walk into that piece. The next thing is interest rates. Okay. The next thing is interest rates versus affordability. This, I keep hearing this all the time. Well, interest rates are going up now, people can't buy. Not so fast. And I'll show you why. And next thing is the housing starts versus household formations. This piece was fascinating when I learned about this because this is a significant factor driving the market. Next thing, millennial buyers. Okay, those of us who are familiar with the Bay Area know that the millennials are a substantial portion of our clients, and therefore 40% of the current transactions are from millennial buyers. And why this is significant, I'm going to show you the uptrend in this, and it's likely to continue. Next thing is large cash investors. Okay, this is another hidden part of what's driving this market. So let's go to the next slide. All right, next. Okay, so California's this is a job growth subject. Go to the next slide. In 44% of the entire nation's jobs were created here in California. This is like the third or fourth quarter of last year, but here's the point. Okay, California has been doing this for years. And the subject matter of what do you do with this? How do you take this issue and then turn it into the housing? Well, I'll tell you, go to the next slide. In the Bay Area, the Bay Area is 40% of the 44%. That's a huge number. And those people that are obtaining those jobs, sure, there's remote work and so on and so forth, but they still, they're coming here to California. We keep hearing everybody's leaving California. Well, that's true, but there's just as many coming in. And I've got the graph for that in a second. So let's go to the next slide. There it is, 39 million, blah, 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 people in California. It's been this way for a couple of years, But the closest state to that is 20-some million, which is Texas. We're still by far leading the number of people, of the population here in California on a state by state basis. Next slide. Okay, I did this, I brought this data. If you look at the date on this, it says 8/3/2017. I did this presentation 4 years ago to the local real estate market. And here's the point. These 531,000 new jobs and 124,000 new housing units. This is the problem, folks. And this is why this real estate market and job market dichotomy, it's going to continue. This was from 4 years ago. It's still happening right now. And it's not likely to go away anytime soon. Next slide. Okay, let's talk about interest rates and affordability. Okay, hey, how about this rate? Anybody want a 30-year fix at 2.87? Well, that was August of last year. Okay, go to the next slide. And then this was last month, 3.89. Okay, now go to the next slide. This is where it is right now, 4.72. So when people talk about affordability, they have legitimate reason to talk about it. All right. However, there's still the other side of the story. So let's go to the next slide. Let's talk about the affordability of this. For instance, if you look on the left side of the chart, you see where it says 28% in Q3 2020 versus 24% in Q3 2021. That's not that big of a drop. It is a drop, no question. But why is it, and when we get into affordability, that it's not that much different? And here's why. Go to the right side. I'll go back for a second, Mark, thanks. On the right side where it says income, you've got income growth. When income grows, so does people's ability to take on the higher interest rate and the higher cost of the home. So the affordability doesn't drop like people think it should from just having the increase in interest rates. I mean, there's no question that it makes a difference and it puts pressure on this affordability, but it's not nearly as drastic as most people talk about it being. Next slide. Okay, this is just another graph of the affordability. No question that it's dropping off. I highlighted in yellow, but it's not as dramatic as people are saying. And there's other things that drive this besides mortgage rates. So let's keep moving. Next slide. I like to put this in. I did this presentation originally. I'm from Contra Costa, and I just want the similar statistics apply to Alameda County since I'm down here in Pleasanton talking to all of you. But here's a very interesting thing. If you look at the affordability of Contra Costa, the average person takes $164,000 a year in income to buy the average house in Contra Costa. Okay, so here's the thing. If you go outside of Contra Costa, it's a step up here in Alameda if you look at the number, 236. But when you go to San Francisco and down to San Mateo County, Santa Clara County, Marin counties, it's in the high 300s in order to qualify. So here's my pitch, my point about in that Contra Costa and Alameda are bargains still. When people ask about, hey, what's going to happen to the real estate market? Well, you have to look at the different counties as well. You can't just look at it overall, although that has impact. Okay, but when you look at the affordability of these various counties, it's pretty fascinating. Contra Costa is a bargain, followed right behind it by Alameda. Next slide. Okay, now we're going to get into, we're going to follow this with the other hidden part that people don't pay attention to. 23% of the sales in Contra Costa County were cash. Okay, that's, you know, when I talk to realtors, they go, is it that high? I go, well, you're out there, you should know this data, where is this money coming from? You know, there's various different kinds, but it's very important to know. Next slide. Okay, here is the underlying driving pillar, one of the pillars for this housing crunch. Let's go to the next thing, okay? There's an underproduction of housing. Now this is nationwide. Next slide. Okay, But how about California? We're 3.4 million units short. Okay, and this subject gets to how many household formations do you have that need housing and how many do you have? 3.4 million short. Next slide. Okay, this is my favorite chart because this just kind of puts it right in front of you. If you look at the last 5 years or so, since 2014, if you look at the blue, okay, that's household growth. And then if you look at the orange, those are new construction starts. It's not enough. Short, 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 short every year. It's a supply and demand market. That's what capitalism is. All right, let's go to the, so this is driving it. I grabbed this chart because here's the interesting thing. You see the dip over there during the pandemic? You know, I guess people just weren't forming households during that time period. And I get it, I get it. But it's not the pattern, okay? We're back on track now. Next slide. All right, this was Contra Costa. Check this out. There was 13,000 new household formations, and the first-time home buyers that were taking inventory out were 8,000, and there were actual 2,700 built. This is the aggregate. No matter what angle you look at it, we have more households being formed than we do new construction. Next slide. Okay, I love this one because this tells a longer story of why we're in the situation we're in now. If you look at the peak back in 2005 building, look at how many units, 154,000 new units came on. What happened during that downturn in 2007? Builders stopped building because they couldn't sell, right? It never recovered. And if you look at the today, 64,000 units, that's not nearly enough compared to household formations. Folks, this is a fundamental that's driving the issue right now. And the likelihood of that changing anytime soon is pretty low. And the reason is just try to build something here in California. Yeah, go ahead. Right, Gary?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you know, it takes, there's so many hurdles for a builder to bring production and try to ramp this up. It's, you know, we're killing ourselves. I say we, I won't get into the politics of it, but the bottom line is there's not enough units. And there's not a path, a clear path to solving that problem. Therefore, we will continue to have low inventory. Next slide. Senate Bill 9. Most of us heard this and variations of it and so on. So the state is saying, hey, we're going to make duplexes out of everything. Okay, so essentially. Okay, and so that's their, in my opinion, weak attempt to try to help solve this problem. But this problem still exists. Even if you take and apply this bill and you go try to build something, go ahead. See if you can get it through the city. You have the same problems, even though they technically opened up the ability for homeowners to build a second unit. All right, you know, this gets into the ADU discussion and all that. So I put an ADU on my house in 2019 and rented. It worked out great. Okay, however, you know, even with these changes in laws, it's not easy. Okay, to get to make it happen. Next slide. Okay, these are the millennial buyers, and I want to bring something out. It's not just that they're 40% of the buying public. Here's the issue. When a first-time home buyer, which most, not all, millennials are a first-time home buyer, when they buy a home, they take one out of inventory, which is already low. They don't put one back. Okay, many of us that have a home, and we go, hey, we want to move up, or we want to move down, or whatever, we put one back on. Well, this is a big issue. It used to be that millennials were around 9% of the buyers. Okay, I'm going back a few years, but here's my point. Okay, if you look at the next slide, okay, I did this presentation. This was back from April of last year. It was 37%.
You had hair then.
I did. Thank you. Oh, that's it. You know, you like that picture?
Yeah, just like
Next
you.
slide, Mark. So here they are. You recognize this guy? Of course you do. They're everywhere. Okay, so here he is. Yeah, his son and grandson, who's the gentleman over here with a 32-year-old grandson? Yeah, man. That's what I'm telling you. You're part of the problem. And I just say it. Not you personally. Okay, next one. So right now, this was as of this month, we're at 40%, right? You guys, and now you want to know why? See, I love doing this because people don't understand why these things are happening. And so let me show you something. Next slide. You see that curve up there? Here's why this is going to continue. Because those 33-year-olds, the millennials, for the next 3 years, there's more of them that are coming into the market. Look at the graph. We're not over the hump. And ask Gary, these millennials are what's buying these $4.8 million houses. It's crazy. Okay. That this is what's happening. Okay. This is the market, and it's not likely to tame down soon. Eventually, of course, but not, I don't see it yet. And just take a look. These are the numbers that come behind these actions. Okay, next slide. I did this for Contra Costa again. 1,149 residents in Contra Costa. Take a look at the 27 to 35 and the 36 to 44 category, which is our millennial buyers. Oops, lost. Did we lose a? Lost a battery. All right. I'll just talk. So your person online probably won't be able to hear, but okay. So here's what happens. If you look at the number, 145,000 and 151 is 296,000 of the Contra Costa residents are in this home buying category. Do you think that's going to continue to drive this market? Of course it is. It's a huge percentage, and that's what we have here in these areas. Okay, next slide. So when you break down these millennial buyers and the ages and so on, pretty fascinating. Because, and actually, it's pretty clear what's happening and why it's continuing to happen. Next slide. Okay, and I do this for real estate agents, and here it is again. These millennial buyers, and all buyers really, the big thing they want is somebody to help them in the home buying process, because they don't know. All right, so for real estate agents to say, well, things are going online, and go, I said, stop, you know, and the people still want the personal hand holding through the process. I mean, these are the facts. Okay, next slide. Okay, I pulled up some local statistics, but go to the next slide. Okay, this is Danville. Average medium home price right now, $2 million. I mean, who'd have thought? Right? But remember the funnel I'm talking about. Contra Costa is a bargain.
Here you go, Bill.
Okay, got it. All right. Am I back? Okay. Yeah. All right. So Contra Costa is a bargain, and so is Alameda for that point. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, this one is the median price in Pleasanton. Okay, 1.8. So what was it 5 years ago? A lot less. You know, it's like, yeah, right. All right, go to the next slide. And this is Walnut Creek, 1.5 million average. You know, this was a couple of months ago, so maybe that's changed. But here's the point, folks. When you look at these numbers and you think about the millennials and them having access to Silicon Valley, because look, most of these people are tech workers, you know, for Amazon and Apple and all this. And here's what I've been told by these millennials, because I have a whole pipeline full of them buying homes, because we specialize in the jumbo market as Safe Credit Union. So we, you know, I get it. I got the lineup, and I'm having these discussions with them. And here's the thing: these millennials, I like to say, mom finally kicked them out of the house. Okay, because enough is enough already. All right, you've been banking the money, saving it, you're making a lot of money, you're getting these RSUs, you're cashing them in, and you know, it's time. Now, go get a house. So part of what's driving all of this, of course, is schools around the areas. We know that's the deeper dive, because these millennials want their kids, they want to have a place where they can put their kids to school, the schools, okay. This is the deeper dive into it. Let's go to the next one. Okay, these are actual units. Okay, if you look at the black line, it's units. If you look at the pink and the blue, that's in medium income, or medium price. So here's the thing, even though the number of units has dropped down a little, not the prices, because there's still high demand and high ability for these millennials to come into the marketplace, and others too. But next slide. This was Walnut Creek. You see the same pattern. It's really the same. Whether we're in Pleasanton, Danville, Walnut Creek, pretty much the same thing happening. Next slide. Okay, so even though sales, it shows, you know, down 8.3%, prices up 9.4. Okay, next slide. Okay, now I'm going to get to the quiet thing that's pushing this market so hard. And this particular piece is maybe hard to understand, but it shouldn't be, because all you have to do is Google work and you find out how much this is changing this country right now. Let's take a look. Next thing. So this is that suburban home buyer could be a foreign government. Yeah, duh. This is the best place to put cash. And what better place than in single family homes? So next slide. Okay. These blocks, all countries are dumping money into these funds to buy single family homes, folks. There's a reason why 23% of the buyers were cash. Where did that just come from all of a sudden? Okay. Next slide. Okay. So this is Amber Pines at Foster Ridge. This is the perfect story. All right. Next slide. Okay, so D.R. Horton. Most people know D.R. Horton, big home builder, right? So in Conroe, Texas, last year, they built 100 and whatever it is, 29 or 134 unit subdivision. They build the whole thing out, and they rent it. The whole thing, all the units. They rent them, and then what do? They offer it to these big funds for sale. Sold it for $32 million, which in perspective is about 50% more than they would have got by selling it to mom and pop. I mean, think about what's happening. Okay, this is a big deal. This is just one. I'm giving you the point that you need to pay attention to if you're going to be wanting to understand the real estate market and what's driving it. Next slide. So how about this one? Anybody heard of Blackstone? If not, they own you. Yeah. So here's what's happening. Okay. Blackstone themselves, if you look at this $6 billion on buying and renting, they already own over 17,000 houses, but let's keep going here. Next slide. Okay. If you look at this, the seed capital, blah, 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 and you go, they actually now through their subsidiaries own 170,000 single family units that they pay cash for. Crazy. Okay, you want to know where the money is coming from? Look deep. Okay, next slide. So the conclusion is this. If you walk through all the things that we just went through, the likelihood is that 2020 is unlikely to have a downturn. It's just how many fundamentals that we have driving this market. That's crazy. And I mean, you can go and check any of this data. It's pretty easy to get, but a lot of people don't put the whole picture together and say, look, here's all of what's driving this. It's not just one thing. It's not just interest rates. I don't care if interest rates go to 7. It's not going to crush this. There's too many other forces at play. Okay, next slide. So Here we go. Hey, it's gonna continue. Get used to it. Next slide. All right. So there you are. That's my perspective on the whole market. Yeah. I see him.
Is what worries me is the foreign investment that comes in and purchases all these homes that potentially could have been affordable to people living in the United States.
Exactly. You should be worried as an American citizen. You know, you should be, in my opinion. I mean, this is not for the fainted heart. Okay. This is what's happening in this country, and it's a globalization movement. Okay, let me say it again. It's a globalization movement. You got funds like Blackstone. They're buying these things by the thousands, and they then set the rents, and everybody else becomes a tenant. Okay, and your kids and your friends and their kids and so on are going, hey, we can't buy anything. It's too high. I mean, we can't afford it, and so on. So wake up, everybody. You know, look. Just saying, no matter which side of the political aisle you're on, we all need to be aware that this is what's going on. And you don't have to dig too deep to find out that this is what's going on. And your point is so perfect. It's right on. Yeah.
Along with that, though, didn't the Japanese do exactly that in the 90s? And then the crash in Japan hit and they had to sell everything.
Well, I can't predict. It could be. I'm not a huge historian. I'm a local boy. I was born in San Francisco, and I didn't get far from the tree. And what I see going on here in the Bay Area, I treat as the domain that I understand. But your point is, like, if history repeats itself, but we can get into that conversation, because if history repeats itself, we've got Adolf Putin that could turn this whole freaking thing upside down. Okay, who knows what maniacs do? I'm just saying. Look, there's a lot of things that drive the market. And I like the gentleman that started out this meeting, and he said, hey, there it is. There's a lot of bad news in the world, and then but let's go over here. We give more money and we do things, and it's true. But it takes both sides to balance it out. It does the same thing in real estate, and that's my point here. You've got all these forces driving the purchasing side of this that is unlikely to go away, because on the supply side, we've been with our heads in the sand for so long. And so there you go. And you guys, you can do whatever you want to help, but take a look. That's my opinion. So
Thank you, Bill.
there you go.
Fascinating presentation. We enjoyed it very much. We all look at what happens in the real estate market around our neighborhoods and just can't believe it.
Yeah.
3-bedroom, 2-bath house, a couple blocks away from me goes up for 1.5, sells for $594 over asking. It's just crazy money. So anyway, fascinating presentation. Dennis, would you like to give away some money?
We got 5 chips in here. Here's the red one. There's $132 in there.
Bill is not going to draw, because Bill booked some tickets too.
Yeah.
And I think he has some special interest in what he does. So I'm going to find somebody who can pull the tickets. Oh, Steve bought one too.
Hey, I didn't, he didn't. Split the proceeds.
We can do whatever you want, Steve.
Okay, here we go.
651 268.
Yes.
Jeffrey.
There are There are 4 chips in there.
Down to the final 4
chips.
What did we look for, Redwood?
651-201.
Okay. All right.
Remember,
What? Carry it? No. Went down to 3 chips? 3 chips. Wow.
Yeah.
3 chips. It's in there, yeah.
Well, 2 weeks from today is gonna be interesting. Somebody's gonna win a bunch of money. So with that, thank you, fellow Rotarians and guests. It's been a pleasure to be here with you today. You're adjourned.